Hello, everyone. My name is Abhishek Gupta. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Countable. Today, we're going to talk about outsourcing. Today's speaker is a co-founder at Pierian Global. He's got 20 plus years in global assurance, audit, and accounting services work. He led his offshore assurance practice of EY North America for almost a decade. It was a team of about 1,500 professionals, and he was awarded the EY Global Golden Beam Transformation Champion Award and Emerging Leader Award. Initial 8 years of his career was with PwC and a private equity firm. He's a CA by background and has been known as a transformation champion. He's a leading expert in offshore industry. And a very close friend, and I'd like to introduce you to Abhishek Gupta.
Thanks a lot, Davan, for this warm welcome and a kind of such an intriguing sharing of my experiences with the audience.
What is your perspective on outsourcing? When you think about outsourcing as a person who is sitting on the other side of the world and servicing the clients in a completely different community, how are you looking at it over the course and what has changed for you?
Outsourcing there has been a kind of paradigm shift in terms of how the outsourcing was being perceived a few years back and how it has to be taken now. About a couple of decades back, when this entire outsourcing thing started, the main objective was to kind of get something more on a cost arbitrage, where you can get cheap or so-called resources from different parts of the world, where you don't have to kind of spend more. However, I think in the last couple of years, since the time when this entire technology advancement has happened, there has been a significant shift in terms of how now the organizations are perceiving and viewing outsourcing. There has been a shift from profit and loss to the value and purpose, and how we bring that value and purpose to our clients. So I think this is how I would define that the outsourcing has completely shifted in the last couple of years. And this is where even the outsourcing firms have to kind of really work very closely with the organizations on their overall vision, their purpose, and kind of aligning themselves into the similar pedigree.
Can you speak to some of those challenges that you categorize as some of the challenges that are perceived by the clients, and how do you really address them?
Right. I think there are some common challenges, or I would rather define it as perceived barriers or myths, which are quite prevalent as part of this industry when you have to kind of go and get your work outsourced. So some of the things which comes top of my head are that am I too small to kind of utilize an outsourcing organization, or is it something which is only meant for the bigger organization? Mm-hmm. The second thing is that how I am going to kind of really secure my data when I'm sending it across a few miles away. The third thing which comes out is that if I have to kind of spend so much time in laying down instructions and coordinating with these outsourcing companies or the third-party service providers, might as well I can spend that time and kind of do the stuff on my own. There is also one of the very, very prevalent challenge which keeps on coming is that the continuity of resources, specifically the assurance in the advisory world, wherein you need to kind of provide consistency to the clients in terms of resourcing, in terms of the knowledge of the client. And that is where a lot of organizations have got that kind of a challenge, whether the outsourcing company can really provide me the continuity. Some of the logistical challenges are specifically in terms of the time zone, that how we are going to meet the time zone difference. Is it going to be something that's going to be viable for us or not? And then whether my outsourcing company has got that understanding about the cultural diversity, how well they are going to be on the communication side, and so on. And whether that outsourcing company can bring the real specialization which is required for my respective market and for my respective clients. Right. So I think these are few of the common perceived challenges which keeps on coming across for us. I'm sure that for multiple other outsourcing companies as well. But typically, these are the things which at least I have experienced in my life, where the organizations have kind of taken a pause and thought through that, is it going to work for me or not?
Going from not knowing anything about it and except reading on the internet and say, these are our challenges, I don't think this is going to work, I don't think we should go down the path, versus how do you kind of hop through those challenges to get to a point that now you have a better understanding and knowledge about how it works? Can you shed some light on that?
If I have to kind of really list down or kind of really concise this broader list of challenges into two or three two or three major challenges. So I think one of the thing is that a lot of organizations still views the the outsourcing companies or the service providers as a third party service provider. They don't see them as an extended team. The second thing which I believe is that still when the organization is picking up the outsourcing partner, their decisions are majorly driven by cost arbitrage rather than the talent arbitrage. And the third thing is the logistical aspects, which we kind of talked about in terms of the time zones, the communication, talent, cultural diversity, data privacy, and so on. So I think these are the things which definitely need emphasis from both the sides in terms of how it needs to be worked upon. And if I have to kind of address these into very simpler format, the first thing which comes is the extended teaming. It's a big mindset shift. So when it comes to extended teaming, it's a mindset shift which requires for the clients and for the CPA firms in the North America to kind of see and start utilizing their outsourcing partner as an extended team, as if that other person is not sitting, say, 500, say 50 miles away, that person is sitting, say, 10,000 miles away. These are some of the perceived challenges, but if I have to kind of really boil down these perceived challenges into, or the perceived barriers into three biggest bottlenecks. The first thing which comes to my mind is that a lot of times the organizations view their third-party service providers as a black box, wherein they can get some information, the information can be processed, and you can kind of get an output. However, if somebody wants to have a real successful relationship in this entire outsourcing world, they have to start visualizing their service providers as an extended team. When I say extended team, it means that it is like your own team member who is sitting in a Washington, D.C. if you are in New York. But instead of kind of sitting in a DC, they might be sitting in India, they might be sitting in Philippines or somewhere else. So it hardly makes a difference. And I think the last 1.5 years has really contributed well for all of us to kind of have that kind of a shift where we can kind of really work in this virtual environment. So that is where I would like to bring that perspective of extended teaming. The second thing, which I would also like to kind of emphasize, is on the logistical aspects, where we kind of talk about the communication, the talent, time zone differences, and so on. I think these are the things where one needs to kind of have a very candid conversation with their outsourcing partner, get a kind of a deeper understanding about the framework under which your outsourcing partner operates. Does that outsourcing partner brings the entire protocols around data privacy? Does the outsourcing partner has got the right team in place? Does the outsourcing partner kind of understands the time zone differences, and they also understands your market in terms of how they need to kind of operate? And the third, and not the least, is the confusion where the lot of organizations tends to make mistakes or kind of tends to take wrong decisions is when they are being carried away with the cost arbitrage rather than being a talent arbitrage. So I would like to kind of really emphasize over here is that once you are kind of getting for your outsourcing partner, figure it out how well you need to kind of get the right talent for your jobs and for your clients, instead of kind of only focusing on cost. Because at times what happens is that when you get into this market, you can go to one partner who will offer you an X dollar, the other partner can offer you X minus $5. And that is where you will only get into a situation where your decision will be driven by cost rather than by talent.
So do you have any thoughts around, what is the best starting point and what are some of the non-negotiables?
The first and the foremost thing is the knowledge. So the leadership and the management team of your outsourcing partner should have the relevant experience in audits and reviews, the applicable gaps for your respective countries, technical accounting, accounting positions, having an understanding about the overall quality oversight from the different regulators, and so on. The second is the talent. The outsourcing partner should have a kind of a very clear understanding about the kind of a talent, what they need to kind of engage, and how they want to kind of allocate the talent on that particular client. So what is their hiring strategy? What is the training strategy? That is something which you need to kind of get an understanding about. Third is the market, where you need to kind of really understand about the overall market understanding of your outsourcing partner? Do they really understand the North American market? Do they really understand whether it is a US market or how Canadian markets and how Canadian clients operates? The fourth point is on culture and communication. So the team which is being allocated by outsourcing partner should be absolutely strong in terms of communication, both written and oral. And their team also has got a very in-depth experience about the cultural diversity between the two countries. So they should understand how the clients and the people in North America work, what is the kind of a format which they operate, what are the protocols under which they work, and so on, so that they can bring that kind of a flavor. And when the teams in the North America are working with their outsourcing partner, they really don't see a big gap or a big difference in terms of from an adjustment standpoint.
Right.
The fifth point, Atin, which I would like to kind of focus over here is risk and compliance. I think for me, again, one of the most critical aspect that how strong is that outsourcing partner in terms of their overall protocols around data privacy. Is that firm being compliant with a SOC 1 and a SOC 2? Are they following any kind of a compliances, whether that is GDPR compliances or whether their internal policies are strong enough for the data protection, and so on. So go a little deeper into that, get an understanding about the risk and the compliance, followed by your outsourcing partner. And then technology. I think this is again one of the most critical areas where you also need to kind of understand that how adequately that partner is being equipped with that latest technology, wherein they can share, exchange, and transfer information. Have they have an understanding about RPAs, the artificial intelligence backed up solutions, what they can bring it on board to kind of increase the overall efficiency and effectiveness in the client service delivery.
Sometimes these information are not really readily available on the internet or the website, or when you type in, it doesn't come up. And now you are trying to talk to 5 different resource individuals and all kinds of different people coming on the table and trying to present information in a meaningful way. Like, can we further narrow it down and say, like, these are the things and these are the points that you should be looking out for when you're positioning it before you get into costing or before you get into testing it out and collaborating it?
So yeah, I understand that probably a lot of organizations would not have been kind of been smart enough to kind of put it on the website. But yes, when as an organization, if you are inviting somebody as an outsourcing partner to kind of make their presentation or kind of inviting somebody for orals, so as an organization, they should be able to kind of bring out these 5 things very clearly as part of their presentation. So if I have to kind of reflect and say that what we do when we go to the clients, the first thing which we talk about to the clients is our leadership and our management. And when we kind of talk about our leadership, what kind of an experience which they bring on board. The second thing which we kind of talk about is our talent, what and how we hire talent. And we kind of break down our talent into all different categories, starting from staff to senior to manager. And what is the hiring process which we kind of follow to kind of hire each of these different levels? What are the trainings which these different levels undergo, both on the technical side, on the non-technical side, so that we kind of give a complete holistic view to our prospective client in terms of how their entire landscape of the talent which will look like. Mm-hmm. The third thing is the data privacy. So we kind of talk heavily on data privacy in terms of our internal certifications, the certifications which we have got from a compliance standpoint, and how we kind of provide the overall secured platform of data to travel between the client side and our people, and how we kind of manage the internal privacy in the environment where people are majorly work from home. So this is also one of the critical elements which you have to kind of understand, that how well as an organization are you prepared for your people to kind of work from home and still kind of ensuring that there cannot be any kind of a data leakages. Then we kind of really go into our tech stack. So we kind of come out with our tech stack, that these are the different elements on which we already have got our in-house tools, whether it is on analytics, whether it is on artificial intelligence, and so on. And these are the additional technology platforms on which we are associated with the third parties to kind of bring any kind of a support services to your extended clients.
If there's a, like you said, if there's a right fit from a team perspective, then it's no different than hiring a team resource. We're going to shift gear. Somebody's already your client, and now they have problems. They're like, you said you're going to bring us a lot of resources on the table, and you're going to be able to ramp up very quickly, and you're going to be able to scale and give me another 10 resources if I need it, and all those things. And it's not happening the way it's happening. How do you kind of deal with that kind of scenario?
It's not a unique problem, then I think it happens almost quite regularly with a lot of other organizations. And at times it happens with us as well, wherein the client comes and suddenly says that they have kind of won a big engagement or a big client, and they suddenly need 20 people from our end. So I think we have been very clear in our communication with all our prospective clients and even our existing clients. For us to kind of add on resources, it takes us a window of at least a month to 2 months, depending on the skill set and the competency of the resource, what you're looking for. We don't kind of carry a big bench. Yes, we kind of carry about a 5% bench, but we don't carry a kind of a big bench to kind of accommodate a demand for 20, 30 people. So I think that message is loud and clear to our clients. And this is where majority of the outsourcing firms fails, because of the fact that if the client comes to you and says that, okay, I need 20 resources and I need them now. And then these outsourcing firms, what they do is that they start knocking the doors of the other firms which are there in that particular country and start kind of doing the subcontracting of the people from there. Right. And I think this is where at least we as an organization are very clear that we don't run behind such scenarios. In case if for the sake of losing out a business for those particular 20 resources, we kind of raise our hands and say that, yes, we are up and ready to kind of provide support, but it will take time for us to kind of provide you required and legitimate quality.
Right. Okay. That's it's understandable, and it also has a security threat to it too. If you're subcontracting it, sometimes it could potentially get you in a situation where you don't have the right security standards. So it seems like, from my perspective, if I just personally look at the opinion, the world is going to expand, and it's no longer Canada or US being a small community, or UK, Australia, New Zealand, so on and so forth. It's just one world, one resources. Tap into it. That's where Countable was formed. We wanted to automate the work, and then even further automation, we wanted to eventually bring in an outsourcing platform that allows people to be able to further reduce their cost and bring in a better team and scalable team, even in a smaller capacity. Adam, do you have any thoughts around that? This is purely just thought sharing at this point. Do you have any thoughts around that? Something different, similar, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think it's pretty deep, so now if I kind of look back into our clients, the clients are kind of expecting very, very different kind of an output from the consultants. So they're not viewing us as auditors, or they're not viewing us as accountants. They're rather looking at us as advisors. So when the client starts looking at you as an advisor rather than as an auditor, it kind of adds additional responsibility on us, because yes, we are, as an auditor, we need to kind of make sure that we are kind of doing our job. We are making sure that at least all the compliances and stuff has been done. Apart from that, we need to be the business advisor to the client, where we have to say that how optimally the person can kind of run the business and how effectively they can kind of maximize their profits. So I think this isn't so-called said, unsaid expectations which are built up in the profession, where the clients are not now expecting these things from the consultants. So it kind of becomes more imperative for them to kind of see that how well they can kind of shift some of the regular routine audit areas or accounting areas to a third party, or the outsourcing company, where they can actually do this stuff for them. And they can kind of really focus on the complex areas and can really provide value to their clients. I think this is the entire framework which the firm or which the clients have to kind of structure it out to kind of make themselves more effective in front of their real clients.
I believe holistically that we have to keep our minds, eyes, and ears open, and to opportunity to do new ways of doing things, and not be afraid of staying out of our comfort zone at all times. We have to try different things, And I think people are, the COVID kind of made it a little bit more progressive, but digital transformation is happening faster than ever. And I think people are open to it. So thank you so much, Abhishek. This has been really, really wonderful. Any last thoughts that you want to share to our audience, share with our audience? That'd be great.
It's all about trust and confidence, and the trust and confidence can only be built up when you kind of get engaged with the right partner. And as I'm saying, selecting a right partner is important, but on the other side, the change in mindset is equally important, where you and your team also need to kind of really understand that how to kind of effectively work with that outsourcing partner. So if I have to kind of really put down into 2 or 3 broad themes, the first thing which comes to my mind is there has to be a very clear alignment of your vision and your purpose with your outsourcing partner, and your outsourcing partner should be smart enough to kind of really understand your vision and purpose and can kind of really articulate the segue which they need to kind of work on. The outsourcing partner has to be absolutely intelligent. They have to be resourceful, and they have to be digitally driven to provide you the right support and right services. And it is an underlying fact that they have to kind of bring the global and subject matter expertise. So these are the things which I would like to kind of really sum it up basis our entire conversation and the questions which you kind of asked me.
Wonderful. Like I said, you're bang on right on everything. There's not a single thing that I would change. I 100% agree with what you said. Abhishek, thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you, and have a wonderful rest of the Sunday.